Hi, I'm Morris Green, and I want to tell you about my 2013 Leaf that I bought used 3 years ago, or 3 years when it was 3 years old. I originally had an old car that was 18 years old and had 160,000 miles on it, and it broke its timing belt. I had the car towed back here to the house, and my son and I spent about a week fixing it to keep the costs down so we didn't have to pay for labor, but the parts alone were $400 to $500. And this was an 18-year-old car with 160,000 miles on it, so it was like, gosh, that's a quarter of the car, what the car's worth. So I was really distraught because my son was using it to get to and from work, doing 40 miles a day. And he was getting about 20 miles a gallon. It was a bigger, safer car. But gee, how much money do you want to put into an 18-year-old car? So I talked to my friends at the electric car club, and they said, hey, you could get an electric car 3 years old coming off of a lease for a very low price, like less than $10,000. And my mouth dropped open. I went, a 3-year-old car for less than 10 grand? Yeah, well, what's the problem? Well, how come they're so cheap? Oh, well, they only go 80 miles on a full charge. Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Hey, but wait a minute, you charge it up every night, and so you start with 80 miles in the morning. Well, how many times do you actually drive more than 80 miles in a day? My son's commute was 20 miles to work and 20 miles home. That's 40 miles. Gee, even in winter when it gets cold and the car only does 60 miles, he's still got a 20-mile buffer. So I looked into it, and I found that there's a used car place on McLaughlin that does one price, and you just go on the web and you look it up, and there's what he has, and those are the prices. I found this car in 2016. It's a 2013 car, so it's 3 years old, for $9,700 with 16,000 miles on it. So it was like, whoa. I went down and we took a test drive, and it was a car, you know, and it's a pretty big car. It's 4 seats, and you know, it's got a lot of room in it. The nice part is in the winter time, when the cold air makes it so that you can only get about 60 miles on a full charge, it has heated seats and a heated steering wheel. So you just don't turn on the hot air blower, because that would use too much electricity. You turn on the heated steering wheel and the heated seats, and hey, snug as a bug. The only thing you need to do is to be able to set up the regular defroster to run, so that if the windows fog up, you can just hit one button, comes on, defrosts the windows for about a minute or 2 minutes, and then you can shut it off. So it's a really nice car. One of the things that we found with the car is it's very inexpensive to run. We've been running this, bought it with 16,000 miles on it. It's got about over 50,000 miles on it now. And it's getting 4.5 miles for a kilowatt hour of electricity. Our electricity company, Portland General Electric, charges about 12 cents for a kilowatt hour. So that's 2.7 cents a mile. Whoa. If a gallon of gas is $2.70, I'm getting 100 miles a gallon. And then, because it's electric, it slows down by regenerating. The motor turns into a generator, and it recharges the battery as you slow down. And so I don't have to do brake jobs. It's got 50,000 miles, and the brakes are only half used. So, gee, I'm going to save money on that. I don't have to do any oil changes. I don't have to do I worry about radiators and keeping that up for when we get a freeze. It's very, very low cost and very enjoyable to drive. One of the things that I also do is that electric motors have their full power when they're standing still. So there's my trailer over there, and I put a trailer hitch on this car, and one of the things that we had a dead tree came down and cut it up with the chainsaw and threw all the rounds in the back of the trailer, took it to the dump. It was 5/8 of a ton payload. That's bigger than a half-ton pickup. And I'm doing it all with my little beater $9,700 car. Really appreciate it. Really enjoy it. It's a great car.